Let's talk about the multi breasted God, and I'm going to take you back in time. Earlier this year, I had an inspiration from the Holy Spirit to execute an assignment. That assignment, as far as I was concerned, was going to be very difficult. The location, the timing, nothing worked with my own calendar for the year. I wrote it down. I was an obedient child, so I wrote everything down. I wrote the instruction that I got. But weeks turned into months and I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't know how to go about it. Like I said, the location, the timing, the details of the instruction were clear. The reason why the instruction came was also clear, because if you're following me on the channel, you remember that I said that God had said that this is the year to launch into the deep, to stretch yourself, to go into uncharted territories. So it was aligned with what he had told me that the year was about. But then when the instruction came, I became human. Of course, I'm always human, but the human part of me was really evident in the fact that I didn't do anything. Every time I was praying, it would come back to my mind, and then I'll push it out because I didn't know how to go about it. At some point, because it was really pressing on my mind and I knew that God wanted me to do it, I then started to think of ways that I could do it. And the first thing that came to my mind was a contact that I have who at that point, when I thought about it, just made sense. The contact was the best person to help me to deliver on the assignment. So I called them, and I'm so glad that I called them. I'm still grateful to God that I called them, because the encouragement that I got from them really helped me to move things along. They were so supportive, confirmed that, oh, this is a good thing to do, this is the right thing, this is really great, you should follow through and do this. Now, after that first phone call, and I know I'm not alone on this when I share. After that first phone call, I started second guessing myself. Am I not just disturbing them? They're busy. I know how busy their schedule could be. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to keep calling? Am I supposed to send follow-up messages? How do we move from assurance to actually getting things done? So I sent the first message to follow up to say, oh, thank you for your encouragement. How can we proceed? And I think we had conversations around the date. I think the date wasn't going to work. They suggested that maybe I could move it to another date. Anyway, to cut the long story short, it was in the process of talking to this person that one day I sat down and I just started thinking, God, how am I going to do this? You gave me a date. Now the date doesn't work. This contact is my only way of executing this program that you want me to do. And this is where it gets interesting. And then I started having this conversation. So for me, different people have different ways of hearing from God. For me, it's always a thought comes to my mind and it follows by a thought. I'm not one of those people that would hear the audible voice. It just always goes on in my mind. And because I have the mind of Christ, I know when I'm having the conversation with the Holy Spirit. So it started with, do you know that I am referred to as the multi-breasted God? And I said, yeah, I'm not a student of Hebrew or Greek, but I've heard it said a few times that that's another interpretation for El Shaddai. The next question was, what does it mean to be multi-breasted? And while I was still going to answer the question, the next question was, how many breasts does a woman have? I was like, a woman has 2 breasts. And then the schooling started and it went on like this. So a woman has 2 breasts, which means that at best she can only feed 2 children at once. She can express, but even then she would have to still replenish herself to be able to continue to express in order to feed her children if she has to feed more than 2 at once. Unlike you, I'm not like that. I'm multi-breasted, which means all my children can come to me at the same time. And I will provide nourishment, I'll provide food, I'll provide life, I'll provide everything that they need for life and godliness at the same time. None of my children has to queue behind another child for second helping. When you're dealing with me, that's not how it works. I am your source. I'm all your source. So what you're doing right now is that you're queuing behind a child of mine when I am your source. I am the one that gave you the assignment. Come to me for direction. I am the multi-breasted God. And that's exactly how I received it. And like they say, the rest is history. Did he still use people? Absolutely. Was my contact still one way or the other instrumental to getting up and doing that assignment? 100%. However, ultimately, God is the source. It's the one we have to go to first. It's the one we have to ask for clarity. It's the one we have to ask for who should we go to, what should we do, and one after the other, day by day. The interesting thing about God is just like I always use the analogy of your father. When you go to your father at times, it's always layer after layer, precept after precept. They wouldn't dump every information on you. They'll give you piecemeal. They tell you to do A, and when A is done, they tell you to do B, and when B is done, they move on to C. That's often the same thing with God. He will give you something to do. He will expect you to come to him, and then it starts to reveal. It's the revealer of secrets. As we count down to the end of 2025 and 2026, this is a reminder to anyone that is listening to me right now to always remember that God is your source. Are there things that he has told you that he's going to do through you this year, and you're already giving up on them because you've reached out to people, because the people that you thought were going to be your means have proved to be human, because we all are human? But however, if you take it back to God, it's going to show you how he's the one that is multi-breasted, how he's the one that is omniscient, omnipotent, how he is the only one that we refer to as the Almighty, the one that doesn't disappoint, he doesn't sleep, he doesn't die. So the things that happen to human beings that would sometimes lead to disappointment, it's never the case with God. Go to the multi-breasted God. Yes, I paused deliberately because I'm hoping that you take a second right now, or take a minute, take as much as you need to remind yourself that God is your source, and to tell him, to pledge your allegiance to him and him alone, to tell him that for the rest of 2025, you're going to rely on him. And even into 2026, you're going to see him as your source. You're going to ask him now for the blueprint, the plan that he has for your life for 2026. And my sister, my brother, my dad, my mom, you will not be disappointed. He didn't disappoint me. He has never disappointed me. I've been the one disappointing myself when I don't remember to put him first. When I don't remember he's my only source. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope it blesses you as much as it blesses me. I hope it changes your perspective about things. And I hope more than anything else that it helps you to always put God first. I leave you with a prayer. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace now and always. I love you with the love of God. But more importantly, don't you ever forget that the multi-breasted El Shaddai deeply loves you. Bye.